course, the ministry was very involved in carrying forward the first finance ministers and central bank governors meet in the G20, which ended only day before yesterday. So after that we are here straight. I don't need to again elaborate on the budget because all of you all have heard the budget being made in the Lok Sabha, and after that also through the media, the various places where we've addressed the media gathering. Each time we went to each one of these places, Hyderabad, Bhubaneswar, Mumbai and so on. So I straight open the floor and leave it for you all to ask any questions, in which the secretaries will freely join their terms.
We will now begin the question and answer round. The format will be as follows. You are requested to ask questions pertaining to the union budget or the policies and schemes of the Ministry of Finance or Corporate Affairs. You may ask your questions in Hindi or in English, and you are also requested that before you ask the question, you kindly introduce yourself, the name and the name of your organization. Thank you.
Madam, my name is Vishnu Rupani. I am a freelance journalist based in Gangtok. So, madam, my question is that since this time your budget has been increased by 10% for Northeast and development areas. So, what would be the proportionate for the scheme in terms of the budget locatory and in terms of the development of the infrastructures related with the infrastructure related with the in terms of this connectivity up to the border area, international border areas.
So there are multiple provisions in the budget which will benefit the state of Sikkim. First, I'll give you some numbers on the overall provisions for the Northeast, in which the proportionate share comes to Sikkim. So for the schemes of the Northeast Council, the outlay has gone up from 644 crores in 22-23 to 800 crores in the current budget. For the Northeast Special Infrastructure Development Scheme, which is mainly for infrastructure including roads, it's gone up from 1,419 in 22-23 to 2,491. And then the Prime Minister's Development Initiative for the Northeast, known as PM Divine, which had 400 crores in the revised estimates for 22-23, is going up to 2,200 crores in the coming year. In addition to this, under the scheme of 50-year interest-free loans to states for capital expenditure, there's an increase of 30%, and Sikkim is one of the states which gets a disproportionately higher allocation. For many of the states, we give it based on the share which they get under the Finance Commission. But for the northeastern states, the government of India has decided to give more than the proportionate share. So Sikkim will be a major beneficiary in the increase in the loans for capital investment by states. This is in addition to the other ongoing development programs. The increase in the budget for infrastructure, particularly for roads, will also benefit the NHIDCL, which is constructing a number of road projects in this region, including in Sikkim. These are just some examples.
Just to add to that, tomorrow, via BC, I'll be launching a ropeway, which is in the western Sikkim, I think, which is a beneficiary of the PM Divine, which came last year. So you are seeing results of allocations made for capital expenditure through the PM Divine, and this is one classic example, and another for which the foundation is being laid tomorrow, again is a direct beneficiary of the PM Divine scheme.
Ma'am, good evening. My name is Nirmala and I represent Sikkim Chronicle. Although this year the allocation of the budget for the northeastern states has been doubled to rupees 5,892 crores, there was much of an anticipation on the announcement of the new policy for the northeastern state in regard to the new industrial policy, and also there was an expectation that you would renew the any investment development scheme in the union budget. We couldn't find that in the budget. What could be the reason for that, ma'am?
Northeast
Investment Development Scheme.
So over and above the things which have been explained for the capital expenditure through the Northeast Council, which is PM Divine, over and above the Gonair, over and above Sikkim getting its own share of the special assistance to the states, which is for 50 years interest-free. You are asking now about, you had an expectation on something which didn't come through. That itself is the answer.
मैडम मैं जगन दाहाल दैनिक जागरण से मेरा प्रश्न है कि जैसे स्टेट हो या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से जो लुभावना जो स्कीम रहता है पब्लिक के लिए, उससे इंडियन इकोनॉमी में कितना असर पड़ रहा है, जो आपका एक्सपीरियंस में बताना चाहता है? जैसे लुभावने जो स्कीम्स वगैरह लेते हैं,
नहीं, उसका टोटल आंकड़ा अभी तक मैंने नहीं किया, मगर उसका ओरिजिनल ऑब्जेक्टिव से ये स्पष्ट है कि उसके अगर आपके पास उतना पैसा नहीं है ऐसे एक स्कीम लॉन्च करने में, उन स्टेट को डायरेक्टली ही करना है। सो उसका मैंने कुल मिला करके इतना ऐसे कुछ अमाउंट अभी बोल नहीं सकती हूँ, क्योंकि मैंने कुछ एक्सरसाइज अलग से उसके लिए नहीं किया, मगर जिन स्टेट में उसके दबाव के कारण स्ट्रेस होकर के उनके फाइनेंशियल हालात में कुछ नाजुकपन आ गया है, उसके कारण सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट से वो मांग रहे हैं, उन विषयों में वो चर्चा निकल कर बाहर रही है।
Hello, ma'am. My name is Pankaj, and I represent ENI in East Northern. Now, my question is, over the years, I think Sikkim has been the recipient of the lowest share of union taxes. Ma'am, I think then for the year 2022, it was around 3,963.23 crores.
What do you mean by union taxes?
Union
The tax
share.
being devolved.
Yeah.
It's devolved as per a formulation given by the Finance Ministerial Commission.
Is there a way the state can actually improve their standing on a national level, because we are at the
I think on a per capita basis, Sikkim gets one of the highest developments. If you relate it to you cannot look at the absolute number, you have to compare it to the population of Sikkim. So there are approximately 250 million plus people in Uttar Pradesh. If you compare it to the population of the state, Sikkim actually gets one of the highest per capita devolutions in the country. And the reason it may be the absolute number is small, because the population is small.
And is there a way we can improve that, sir? With the
The
minimum?
devolution is fixed by the Finance Commission. They consider different factors. They consider population, they consider the disadvantages such as hill location. That is why it is disproportionately high also. They consider all these factors. When the next Finance Commission is appointed, Sikkim will make its case. And they balance these different, it's a complex equation. There is population, there is per capita income, there are handicaps, forest cover, some are plus, some are minus. They give weights for the different factors and then arrive at a formula.
Ma'am.
We have been hearing, about concessions being given on the tax side and grants and subsidies being given on the other side. Now you are talking about, share being increased. I would say rather than, all of us looking at, what someone else is getting or what is my proportion of share, can we all together, because I represent revenue, can we all together think of how, we can increase the total kitty so that, your share also increases and so does everyone else's.
Madam, is there any plan to?
The lady, please, you have already asked.
Good evening. I'm Nita Niraj from UNI and Sikkim Reporter. I just wanted to know two things. One is that there's so much budget allocated for infrastructure, but nothing is included for the maintenance and for repairs, and it is very difficult when the things go off. And number two is there is lots of, focus on irrigation, but there are certain areas in Sikkim which have gone totally dry, and there's no, river sources have dried up and all others. So what would be the focus on now? That money wouldn't work there, that other.
So, let me point out that there are two kinds of infrastructure. One is national trunk infrastructure, which is built by the central government. There is adequate provision for maintenance of national highways and for the highways which are built by the NHIDCL and operated by them. As regards maintenance, so maintenance repairs of NH, adequate budget provision is there. You can look at the budget, it is there. As regards state capital expenditure projects, what the central government provides is a support to carry out capital expenditure. It is the responsibility of state governments to handle maintenance and repairs of an asset which actually belongs to the state. So that's a question which is really to be posed and answered by the state government when it comes to state government assets.
Just to supplement, more and more, see now the government what it is trying to do through various PPP projects on which this capex will be spent. Through the hybrid and through the annuity model, the maintenance itself is also taken care of by the PPP partner. So in a way, when we are providing for the capex, the operational expenses are also being provided for.
Ma'am, good evening. My name is Vijay Gurung. I represent Sikkim Express. I do beg your pardon. This question may not fall within the specific parameters given by at the outset, but it does concern the ministry in the sense that on January 13, the Hon'ble Supreme Court has directed your ministry to bring an amendment in the Income Tax Act 1961, where to add one more clause in the definition of Sikkimis as mentioned in Section 1026 AAA. So how soon can we expect that amendment? And part 2 question would be, would that addition of one more definition in one more clause in the Sikkimis definition would they are concerned that the expansion of the definition Sikkimis definition may dilute the rights and privileges enjoyed by the Sikkimis presently.
First of all, let me clarify the rights and the privileges enjoyed by Sikkimis and as to who Sikkimis are. Immediately after that judgment came out, it was the Union government which approached the Supreme Court to say, please expunge the remarks which were obituary, which were not germane to the question which was being discussed. So I'm sure you are aware that through the immediate response and action of the central government, that has been removed. In other words, the intent of the central government to respect the privileges and the rights of Sikkimis has been kept intact because the central government responded to that situation immediately without any delay. So that proves our intent. So you can be assured, and through you I wish to assure the people of Sikkim that nothing has changed as regards Sikkimis. The court's case has already been dealt with.
मैं ऋषि दूरदर्शन न्यूज़ से मैम आपने बजट में जिस तरीके से इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और तमाम चीज़ों के बारे में बताया, आपने बताया कि कल आप रोपवे का भी उद्घाटन करेंगे, आपने गेटवे भी कहा, तो इस पूरे इलाके की कनेक्टिविटी के लिए क्या फ्यूचर में कुछ इस तरीके के बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं जिससे कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट भारत के बाकी के हिस्सों से और ज़्यादा मजबूती से जुड़ पाएगा?
Improving connectivity, there are 3 or 4 areas. One, that Government of India through Ministry of Road and Transport have been increasing the national highway network to improve the network of infrastructure. At the same time, in the northeast, NHIDC also takes a project. Then connecting villages, improving connectivity. The scheme for PM Gram Sadak Yojana. The yet another scheme previously the connectivity. Third, Sikkim has its own challenges because large or any airport is a difficult one, but heliports to be constructed. This budget announces 50 such heliports to be done. So that is yet another part of connectivity. But when we talk about connectivity, it is not just road where we transport people or goods. There is also the digital connectivity. So there is a clear scheme to make sure that each and every village of the country has a digital optic fiber connectivity. And the focus is equally being given for the border villages. It's not just about border villages, but I'm making at that point because these are the most difficult areas to reach. When we talk about connectivity, it is also to make not just the optic fiber, but making sure that the Gram Panchayats as well as schools, PSCs, they get connectivity. And then there are other services can come in there, because once you get connectivity, then telehealth services can get onto the PSCs. The students can get connectivity by that classes can be done online. Plus yet another example which was done in the last year's budget through a television in the local language, make sure that there is a distinct channel for the local language classes from 1 to 12 which are available outside the classroom normal school hours. So when we talk about connectivity, Government of India attempts to work with the state government to promote physical connectivity, digital connectivity, as well as service-oriented connectivity. Thank you.
Ma'am, the state president BJP today submitted a memorandum to you expressing concern on the rising unemployment, especially seeking for a one-time financial assistance. And second is to give a direction to all the nationalized banks working in this state to make the loan easy and hassle-free without collateral securities. And third is to extend the NEIIB policy in the state of Sikkim. What is the take on this demand?
The demand is given to me, I can't have an immediate take on it.
Okay.
I respect it, I will look into it. And in fact, the second point that you mentioned, Secretary DFS is here, he has already done a review yesterday before coming here through all the banks as to what has reached Sikkim and what is yet to reach. And he is joining me in this visit only because we are working to get total saturation. Meaning every eligible person should get what is planned through the PM's various schemes. So that work has already been reviewed by him. We shall further take it up tomorrow. So it's going on. The other two, of course, are part of the memorandum, which I will, with due respect, take it and work on.
And ma'am have also instructed me to visit Gangtok again and have a meeting with the state government and review all the schemes, which I will do shortly.
We will take only one last question. Anybody who's not answering? Yeah, please.
Ma'am, there is a general worry in a section of population here of the increased borrowings of the state government from various sources to meet the capital investment and venture commitments. How does Government of India assure the people that borrowings of the state are being controlled?
So, I do not have state-specific figures with me, but I will say that the Government of India keeps under review the borrowing of different state governments and fixes a borrowing ceiling for each state government. One change that has been brought about in there is starting with 21-22 and then 22-23, is that we have noticed that in some cases there is borrowing which is actually to be serviced by state governments but is not within the 3% ceiling. That is now being reckoned within the 3% ceiling. So the present situation is, if the borrowing is to be serviced through the consolidated fund, then regardless of whether it is taken by the state or by an organization of the state, it will be counted within the permissible borrowing ceiling of the state. That has been enforced from 2022-23 and will continue to be the case in future.
I think we'll wrap up the press conference. I think we will.
Ma'am, can I ask one last question, ma'am?
We can take one more question, please.
Ma'am, one of the highlights of Sikkim would be we used to have this Nathula border trade. Before COVID we used to have, and it was important for historical reasons also and diplomatic relationship also. It has been closed. So any indication as to when that trade may be resumed in coming years?
It was an issue which was raised in this meeting which happened just before this press conference. And we've taken note of that request. It was sent